Hello my bunnies, it's Tiki's Trinkets here, and today I have for y'all another polymer clay tutorial. It's another Deltarune tutorial, or Undertale 2. For some reason I struggle saying that title. For some reason for me it's just hard. Before I get into showing this, I just want to say happy belated Thanksgiving to all of y'all, because Thanksgiving, by the time you watch this, would have been yesterday for United States. November 20, I'm having a brain fart, 3rd. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry. I hadn't been paying attention to the dates lately. I've just been working steadily, trying to do what I need to do. Anyhoozle, today we are doing Ralsei from Deltarune. Here is the completed piece. I did not put up my light, so it's a little dark. But I just made the hat and the horns kind of curved just to give it a cute effect. For the eyes, I did these crystal diamond eyes because Ralsei's eyes in the game are white, and I don't have white diamonds, so this white diamond. I like Steven Universe. This was as close as I could get to white for my eyes, for my sculptures. And, excuse me. And for the glasses, you'll see in the tutorial how I made these. Pretty simplistic. Everything was pretty simple for this one. Compared to compared to Chris, the first Deltarune tutorial I did last week, that was a little bit more complicated. But just so you can see, the 360, you can't really see the base too well, but I still took the time to paint it. It's really hard to see, but it's green, but you will see that in the video as well. And I did intentionally make Ralsei here just a little bit shorter, just a teensy bit shorter than Chris, because in the game Chris is a little bit taller. I mean, if we're counting the hat, she's gonna look, don't know the pronoun. Ralsei will look a little bit taller, but when they're sitting side by side on the desk, Chris actually looks a little bit taller, but it's just really hard to tell. Anyways, I don't want to talk you guys heads off, but I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Stay tuned for Susie tutorial. I also have a special video that's something different coming here soon. Well, it's not different from what I've done before, but something before Susie more than likely. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into this YouTube video. I hope you guys like this. Bye-bye, my bunnies. Alright, for this tutorial, you're going to need the following colors. I have like a neon greenish yellowish color, black, and a fuchsia pink. First, we're going to start with the black. I usually start from lightest to darkest, but it's just because of the way we have to make the structure. These are the amount of balls and the sizes of balls you would need. Just kind of go back to this picture as reference. Just screenshot it or pause it here. Next, we're going to start with the two smaller balls. Well, two medium-sized balls at the bottom. And you're going to roll these into very elongated teardrop shapes, like so. These are going to be Ralsei's legs. So then, each one you're just going to do the same steps I'm doing right here. Pick it up, push with your index finger against your thumb so it makes a foot-like pattern. Put it on your work surface and flatten it out so the bottom is flat so it'll stand on its own. And then just cut it on the bias to the right for the right leg and to the left for the left leg. And once you've done that with both legs, both of the legs should look like this. I'm also drinking coffee. I know I said I was laying off of it, but I'm also drinking water too, so. Next, we're going to start with the smaller ball. This is going to be the heart on Ralsei's little cape thingy. You're just going to roll this out flat. Try not to make it too thick, but also try not to make it too thin where it'll fall apart. Then you're just going to either cut it manually by yourself, like stencil it and then cut it out, or just use a cutter. I prefer to use a cutter. And then just poke that in there and it'll come out inside the color. To get it out, I always just take a cotton swab and poke it from the back side once or twice, and voila, it comes right out. I don't use my fingers because I'd have to jam them in there and it would hurt, so yeah, just use a cotton swab. Next, we're going to do Ralsei's head, which is the biggest size ball you could stand to make. That's just a teensy bit bigger. Try to make it at least an inch in diameter. I made it a little bit smaller this time. I should have went bigger. Then roll it between your fingers to make the top part pointed. Then put it in your left hand, or depending on what hand you use, press it down on the top point to make it curved. And then after you've curved it, also take the snoot part and roll it between your fingers to make it rounded. Once you've done all that, make sure you pause these pictures for reference. It should look like this. So he has a round snoot and a curved in eye socket place. Alright, and this is what we have thus far. Next, we're going to do the hair tuft that he has on the front of his head, which will be this itty bitty little ball. It's less than a centimeter in size, so it's tiny. Just roll it into a pointed teardrop shape, and then the fat part at the end, just kind of cut it on a bias, like so. That way when you put it on the head, it won't be just sitting straight out like a horn. It'll kind of curve over. And then once you put it on the head, just curve it to how you'd like. I used a reference picture. It's also good to keep a reference photo open in the next tab. Finally, with the black, we're going to make his ears. Or her ears. Again, I'm not sure if Ralsei's a boy or a girl. Somebody correct me in the comments if you know. Just roll these in the very chubby teardrop shapes. Then just put them on your work surface and cut about 25% of the ear off. You're going to keep the piece that's 75%, the bigger half. And then just lay it on your work surface with the flat part facing down on the work surface. And then his ears are kind of jagged looking, so just cut a little tuft in each ear to make it look a little more roughed up. And it just makes the cuteness all the more better. I can't talk today. Then just go ahead and stick it to the head. You can either glue it or just stick it. I just stuck mine on there. And then that's all the black that we need for now. Next, I didn't put this in the beginning, but I'm going to use scrap clay for the inner part of the body. If you have scrap clay, this is a great way to utilize it. I just took the scrap clay and rolled it into my teardrop shape for the torso like I always do, but I put black on the bottom. That way, if the dress part, robe part went up some, you wouldn't see the scrap clay colors. Then just press that flat against your work surface. Then turn it on the side and cut it flat on the top. That way it sits flat on the top and the bottom. Next, we're finally going to go on to this greenish neon yellowish color. It's closer to a green, but it's showing up more like a yellow, but that's cameras for you. Now, for this, you're only going to need 5 balls, and it's the sizes you see here. Well, I forgot the glasses, so you'll see that later, actually. We're going to start with the largest ball, though. This needs to be really large, like 2 inches in diameter. Pretty dang big. Then you're going to roll this out as flat as you can get it, but still workably pliable. Then just cut it on all 4 sides to make it into a square shape. I had to re-roll this. This was not big enough, so make sure it's big. And then just wrap that around the body, but lift it upward because we still have to put the legs on. And after you lift it up, make sure you just stick the legs to the side. You can use glue. I just actually stuck it on there and it stuck fine. Then just pinch the back part of the robe on so that it all pinches together, and then just take your X-Acto blade and go up on it and cut off the excess right there, as you can see here. I actually use my long blade, but you can use either one. Just be careful if you're a kid, get parents' permission, or get some help with this. Next, take your blending tool or your fingers and just blend the seam into the robe so it looks like it flows seamlessly. Then just to add a little texturing, it's hard to see, but I went down with my blending tool and there's lines on the robe, just to make it more flowy. For the head, I went on ahead and stuck a metal piece in there. I didn't glue it. We're not gluing it, but go ahead and stick the head on. Do not glue it. I think we're going to need it later to come off, so don't glue it yet. Next, I'm going to work on the bottom part of the hat. The witch's hat is what I'm going to call it. Just roll that ball off. Roll that ball into an oval shape, and then just stick the long parts towards the ears. And then after that, we're going to do the pointed part of the little witch's hat. So this ball, we're just going to roll into a pointed teardrop shape, like so. And then to make it stick to the hat, you're just going to cut the bottom round part off flat, like so. And to make sure this adheres to this, since this is a fragile area, I did use glue. This time I used Crazy Craft glue because it dries slower and I wanted to be able to move it if I messed up. And then, what did I do here? Oh yeah, I glued on the heart to the chest. Even I forget what I'm doing. Next, we're going to take the last 2 small balls, and these are going to be the horns. And you're just going to roll these into very small teardrop shapes, like so. Allergies are a bee, I tell you. Then just cut the rounded parts off. And then again, using your Crazy Craft glue, I cannot say craft, glue it to the top of the witch's hat. So right about now I realized I forgot to make the green for the glasses, so I took all the scrap clay I had left over, and I'm just going to roll it into a ball and then just stick it into my clay extruder. And I used the second smallest setting for the glasses lens. If you have this, it's like $9 on Amazon. I would use the smaller setting because this was still a little thick. Then I just stuck the eyes on, and I stuck the glasses on, make sure they looked good. Then I took all that off because we're not going to bake that with it on. The eyes would melt, and the clay, we wouldn't be able to get the eyes through there. Finally, we're going on to the fuchsia color clay, and we are going to roll out a very big ball, probably at least 1 inch or 2 in diameter. let's do 1.5 inches. You don't really need 2 inches for this. Then just roll it into a very, very long snake, which came up to about 3 inches long. Then just take your rolling pin or X-Acto blade and roll it out nice and flat. Try to make it even as possible. Then taking my long blade, I cut along the sides and the top and the bottom to make it nice and flat. And then I just stuck it on Ralsei. I started from the back and then worked it around the front and then pulled it off to the side. Next, I just went on ahead and cleaned everything with rubbing alcohol on cotton swabs. And once I cleaned it, it looked like this. Looks about the same. It wasn't that dirty, so I didn't need too much. Now we're ready to bake. Go ahead and stick it in your oven. If you're using gas like me, 350 degrees for 12 to 13 minutes. You don't want to burn it. If it's electric, you want to play with the time a little. Finally, after it's baked and cooled off, we're going to take our Loctite glue and you're going to glue the eyes on first and then the glasses on. Now I took this acrylic paint set from Walmart and took this neon green and painted the base for it to sit on. Like I showed you in the beginning, it took 4 coats of this paint. It's very thin. It's a bad quality on the green, but the rest of the paint's pretty good. Then I just used my E6000 to glue Ralsei to his base. And then I just took my polyurethane floor varnish, again from Walmart, and I'm going to glaze it with 2 coats of glaze. And once you do that, you're completely done. And here's Ralsei fully completed. And I'm also going to show you a picture of Chris and Ralsei together because they look so cute side by side. Here you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, my bunnies.